Salvete omnes. This is Abbey Latin Liber Primus, chapter 18. This is chapter 18's another vocabulary exercise. On the heels of chapter 17's vocabulary exercise, the instructions are pretty much the same. Using your knowledge of verbal prefixes, that would be the chart in the chapter, it's the same chart as before, and the verbs from this chapter's vocabulary, match the following Latin verbs with their proper English definitions by writing the letter corresponding to each definition on the right-hand side next to the following verbs on the left-hand side. The first one is done for you. So number one, recipio, recipere, recepi, receptus. Well, its definition is to take back because it is re and capio. Re means to take back or to again, like redo something, to do it again. And the verb capio, capere, capi, captus, a third io conjugation verb. So it's to take back, to take again. Number two, deficio, deficere, defeci, defectus. It's a compound of de, which means down from, or just from. It can also mean about or concerning as a preposition, but as a prefix to a verb, it usually means down from. Often in a pejorative sense, like it does here. And it's ficio, ficere, feci. Fectus comes from facio. So facio, facere, feci, factus. Very important verb. It's definitely in the top 5 Latin verbs. It means to make or to do. So this is de facio in compound becomes de ficio, ficere, feci, fectus. You can see the English word defect in the fourth principal part. Or you can see the stem defici in the English word deficient. So it means to make down from, or to sort of like fall from grace sort of thing. So to make or to do down from. So this is most closely letter J. To make, to do or to make from, to withdraw, to forsake, to abandon, to fail or disappoint. So if something is deficient or defective, it disappoints, it fails. Number 3, inicio, inicere, injeci, injectus. Now this is a compound of in. In means in or into. It can mean on or onto. It can also mean against as a prefix. And the verb base here is iacio, iacere, ieci, iactus. So look what it does in compounds. It goes from iacio to icio, to iacere to icere, ieci, and then iactus becomes iectus. And you will see this in other compounds, like in number 7, and in number 7, abicio. So this is in plus iacio means to throw into or throw upon, to throw against maybe. And in the Middle Ages, this consonantal I, so inicio, the first principal part only has vowel I, inicio. The second principal part, inicere, also those are only vowel I. The third principal part, injeci, the first and the third I's are vowel I's, pronounced like E, injeci. The second I is consonant I, pronounced like Y, like a Y, injeci. And that's the I that gets the tail at the end and becomes a J. So you should be able to see in the fourth principal part, injectus, vowel I, and then consonant I, give this consonant I, the second I, a tail at the bottom, make it a J, injectus, like the English word to inject. So this is most closely like option D, to throw into, to throw upon, to throw at, to infuse, to suggest, or to inject. Efficio, efficere, effeci, effectus for number 4. Okay, this is X as a prefix. It looks like E and F, and it is. That X assimilates, like odd assimilates. We've seen that one before. So it turns into the F. It becomes the initial consonant itself, like a double consonant. But really it's X and then facio, facere, feci, factus. So look again at number 2, deficio, deficere, defeci, defectus. You see the same pattern. Ficio, ficere, feci, fectus, just with a different prefix. This is ex, so out of. So you make or do out of. So we have the English word here, affect. Effect. So we have to make out of. This is most closely like option L, to make, do out of, to effect, to execute, or to produce. And that might be someone who's efficient who does that. They affect things, they bring things about, they make things happen, bring them ex out. Excipio, excipere, excapi, exceptus. We have ex again, only this one is prefixed to capio, capere, capi, captus, like number 1, recipio, recipere, recapi, receptus. So look how capio alters when it's prefixed. Capio becomes cipio, capere becomes cipere, capi stays the same, and then captus becomes captus. So we have excipio, excipere, excapi, excaptus. So to take, capio means to take, to capture, and then ex, so to take out of, to take from. So this is most like option D, to take out of, to accept. You can see the English word accept in the fourth principal part, to capture from out of. So you have a whole group of things and you take from out of, you accept things. So I want all these things except for these other things. So if you've limited, you've taken the other things out of your grouping. Number 6, inficio, inficere, infeci, infectus. You have in plus facio. Once again, you can see like in numbers 2 and 4 how facio looks when it's prefixed. So we have inficio, inficere, infeci, infectus, and hopefully you can see the English word infect in the fourth principal part. So to make or to do into, to make upon, something like to infect, most like option H. To make or to do in, to dye, to stain. From there you can get to poison, to taint, to corrupt, like to infect. Number 7, obicio, obicere, obieci, objectus. So you can see ob, which is most seen in words like opposition. It's opposition, oppono, like an opponent. So ob means like you're up against something, like you run up against a thing. That's ob, up against as a prefix. And the verb here, the root is yakio, yakare, yaki, yaktus. And we've seen this in number 3, inicio. Here you should be able to pull out the English word object, turn that I into a J, object, objection. So this is like your yakio throwing ob up against, to throw in opposition. So this is most like option F, to throw at, to throw against, to throw in the way of, to oppose. This is ob, it's a P because of assimilation. But it's oppono, oppositus, to oppose, an opponent, to present. So you're just kind of throwing that out there, throwing that against something. Number 8, benefacio, benefacere, benefeci, benefactus. So here we have benefacio. Notice it has a different compound from efficio and inficio and deficio. It's benefacio, retains the A. Benefacio, benefacere, benefeci, benefactus. So it's just facio and bene, the adverb form bene, and that's K. To make, to do good, to benefit, to bless, like benefactor. That's beneficent. So number 9, perficio, perficere, perfeci, perfectus. So it is per and then facio. So literally to facio, to make or to do, per as a prefix means thoroughly, to really do it, to make or to do something up to the point where it is totally done, or the English word perfect, proficient. So perfect. Option B, to make or to do per, there's the through or thoroughly, to complete or to finish a thing. Perfect means completed, like your perfect tenses are completed. Imperfect is not completed. Number 10, malefacio, malefacere, malefeci, malefactus. So it's the opposite of number 8, benefacio. This means to make badly, to do badly, like maleficent, to do something malicious. So this is like option E, to make or to do evil, ill, harm, to injure. Number 11, afficio, afficere, affeci, affectus. This is through assimilation ad, 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 ficio, ad, ficere, ad feci, ad fectus. The D just becomes an F due to ad assimilation, assimilation. So we have ad facio, to make towards, to make near, or to English word affect, like it causes and so it affects something. It makes towards, or see, to treat, to manage, to handle, to affect something. So you can see the difference between effect and affect. The effect is the thing that is brought out of something. Affect means to treat or to manage, to handle, to affect something, to cause. This is the thing that is the effect. And then 12, reficio, reficere, refeci, refectus. So imagine there's an R there. So reficio means to make again. Make again. It can only be the last option, option I. To make anew, to remake, to rebuild, to restore, repair, to refect, like a refectory, the restoration room. It's usually a fancy word for a dining room. Optime, very well done. You're now ready to move on to Chapter 18's Exercise A. Volete omnes.